Good afternoon. My name is Ebony Hatter of the School of Education at Aspen University. This discussion is going to be based around social power. Power means many different things to different people. For some, power is seen as corrupt, and others, the more power they have, the more successful they feel. And for even others, power is of no interest at all. The 5 types of social power were identified by John French and Bertram Raven in the 1960s through a study that they conducted on power in leadership roles. The 5 types of social power are legitimate power, coercive power, reward power, and these 3 powers here are considered formal power. And then we'll move to our last 2, which are expert and reverent power, which are considered personal power. Legitimate power is the power that is asserted from being placed in a position of authority. It is usually a key member within the organization who holds this type of power. And the authority is almost always recognized by the employees through this person's position. An example of this type of power will be a CEO who determines the overall direction of the company and the resources needs of the company. Then we have coercive power, which is defined by the capability and the authority to reprimand people for whatever reason. Usually this power is conveyed through fear, and that's the fear of losing one's job, being demoted, receiving a poor performance review, or having prime projects taken away from them. This power is attained through threatening others. An example of this power would be the vice president of sales who threatens sales representatives to meet their goals, or they'll get replaced. Then we have what is called reward power, which is characterized by the ability to extrinsically motivate people by offering them incentives or taking them away. This power is usually conveyed through rewarding individuals for compliance with one's wishes. It's also attached to giving bonuses, raises, a promotion, or extra time off of work, those type of things. An example of this kind of power exuded would be the supervisor who provides employees comp time when they meet an objective that he or she sets for a project. The next type of power we see is expert power. And this power is defined by the control one possesses to influence by way of passing down knowledge, expertise, or information. It comes from experiences, skills, or knowledge of the leader. As we gain experience in specific areas and become thought leaders in those areas, we begin to gather expert power that we can utilize to get others to help us to meet certain goals. An example of this is the project manager who is an expert at solving particularly challenging problems to ensure the project stays on track. That is our example of expert power. And finally, we have what's called reverent power. And this is the capability to influence by way of one's charm or personal approval. This power comes from being trusted and respected. We can gain reverent power when others trust what we do and respect us for how we handle certain situations. An example of this could be the human resource associate who is known for ensuring employees are treated fairly and coming to the rescue of those who are not. That will be reverent power. Next, I'm going to discuss dominant power within the organization that I work for. In observing that, I would say that the power that is dominant is both expert and coercive. I say expert because the building principal who I have the pleasure of working under, he always uses his experience and his expertise to teach and to shape and to mold those who are following him. We have a great deal of respect for him as a result of that, which is an example of reverent power. However, he often tells us how his experience as a principal for about 15 years has gotten him to where he is now and has impacted the type of leader that he has become. And we appreciate him for that. Now, we have many vice principals who exercise coercive power. And in a building with 2,200 students, obviously we have to have more than one building principal. So there are 4 vice principals. And in the 3 years that I've worked for this organization, I have witnessed these vice principals use coercive power very often. I've seen them use coercive power when someone wants to move from a position within the same grade group. I've seen a vice principal threaten to take away a stipend position because they were not in favor of them moving to this position. I've seen other vice principals have that kind of got you mentality where they threaten people to do the things that they want them to do. I had there was a situation with a vice principal who had illegal access to the cameras in people's classrooms, which is something that the building operations manager is only privy to. And she was using this to manipulate people to do what she wanted them to do. Now, I say that this is coercive power. Obviously, I believe that the definition in the story or the examples define itself. However, what is important in this is, to me, is that each person, each vice principal, it seems that they have their own kingdom, and they use this coercive power to push their kingdoms forward. Nobody is really working as a unit. Everybody is kind of choppy and just wants to be in control and to look the best, not really thinking about what is best for the overall organization. They use this coercive power to benefit themselves and their own personal agendas. And so that's the organizational social power that is dominant there. Now, when we discuss the alpha dog, I really enjoyed reading this part of the text, because you often think of the alpha dog, I know I did, I often thought of the alpha dog as somebody who is just in charge and untouchable, and you almost had this heroic vision of the alpha dog. But the Urban Dictionary defines an alpha dog as the leader or authority in a group, especially in a group of peers. And I really needed this broken down for me because it gives me a whole different view of the alpha dog concept. The alpha dog is characterized by a person who holds a position of authority. They are usually the one who is most credible. They drive consistently high value performance. They're capable of economic value. And these are just the primary indicators that this person is operating in an alpha dog mentality. There are various pitfalls. Two of the ones that I pointed out were that some alpha dogs are ahead of their time as it pertains to innovation and entrepreneurship. And because of this, they're met with resistance. The alpha dog in an organization provides critical clues, and this is according to our text, to the truth of an organization. And to obtain this status, one's actions and behaviors must be in sync with the company's energy flow, or they would not be able to drive the value and impact their employees as they do. Alpha dogs are on the same frequency as their organization, knowingly or not, and the very best of the breeds are clear about their own personal truths, and they consciously and courageously act on them. As a result, the alpha dog's leadership intensifies the existing energy of the organization and the other leaders within it. And I thought that this was a great explanation of the alpha dog. I mean, it just makes me really excited about wanting to become an alpha dog, because I don't believe that I have arrived. I believe that there is still a lot that I need to learn before I can consider myself an alpha dog per se. I do believe that I embody some of the characteristics and qualifications of an alpha dog, but to truly encompass all that our text says that an alpha dog is, I have some learning to do. So I enjoyed this. I hope you did as well. Have a great day.